The story begins on Christmas Eve 1990, 2 years after the Nakatomi Plaza incident. John McClane is at Dulles International Airport near Washington, D.C. As he waits for his wife Holly to arrive from California, airport police tow away his in-laws' car and give him a parking ticket. Hanging out at an airport lounge, McClane sees a group of men, dressed in army fatigues, pass a package between them and disappear into a restricted area. He follows, and a fight ensues in which McClane kills one of the men, but the second man gets away. McClane confronts the head of the airport police, the hot-headed Captain Carmine Lorenzo, who dismisses McClane's report as punk stealing luggage, despite the fact that one of the assailants was wielding a rare porcelain gun designed to evade metal detectors. McClane storms off to investigate on his own, taking fingerprints from the corpse and faxing them to his friend, LAPD officer Al Powell, who runs them through several databases. The resulting records indicate that the man, Sergeant Oswald Cochran, was an American advisor and had been declared officially dead even before the fight, leading McClane to suspect that he had been part of a plot to seize control of the airport. Which is exactly the truth. As weather conditions worsen, a vengeful rogue U.S. Army officer, Colonel Stewart, prepares to hold the approaching planes and their passengers and crew hostage until he can free a former Central American general and drug lord, Ramon Esperanza. The deposed despot is arriving at the airport under guard. Stewart has set up his operational base in a nearby church after shooting the owner and has hacked directly into Dulles communications and air traffic control. McClane sneaks into the airport's control tower and confronts the head of air traffic control, Trudeau, just as Stewart commences his operation and takes control of the airport. McClane is chased out from the tower. As he descends in the elevator with reporter Samantha Coleman, she tips him to the presence of Stewart. McClane slips out of the elevator and into the underground maintenance area of the airport, where he gains assistance from an airport janitor named Marvin. Trudeau and his controllers contact the approaching planes and inform the cabin crews, without mentioning the terrorists, that they must circle the airport. Trudeau's communications director, Leslie Barnes, takes a team to a new antenna outpost at the skywalk to restore unbugged communication with the planes. He and Lorenzo's SWAT team are attacked by a detachment of Stewart's men, resulting in the death of all 5 SWAT officers and the loss of one of Stewart's men, Shockley. Fortunately, McClane heard about the auxiliary outpost while in the tower, and just as Barnes is about to be killed, McClane emerges and kills Stewart's 3 team members, O'Reilly, Sheldon, and Mulkey. Stewart retaliates by crashing a British jet, killing everyone on board when it severely explodes. Barnes later warns the plans about the terrorist situation using the outer marker, the radio beaker, without the terrorists' knowledge. McClane returns to the underground maintenance level, where two-way radio dropped by one of Stewart's crew tells him that Esperanza is about to arrive in his now commandeered plane. He has killed his guard and the pilots. McClane rushes to the runway and briefly apprehends Esperanza before Stewart and his men show up to retrieve the general themselves. McClane kills Thompson and hides in the cockpit of Esperanza's plane, but Stewart and his crew toss grenades inside, forcing McClane to strap himself into the pilot's ejector seat and escape the resulting blast by engaging the eject function. An Army Special Forces unit arrives at the airport. Their leader, Major Grant, once served with Stewart and claims to know his tactics. Barnes surmises that Stewart's command post is near the airport, and he and McClane find the church where Stewart is hiding. Shortly after McClane kills Baker, one of Stewart's guards, Grant and his squad show up and a gunfight ensues. Stewart, his men, and Esperanza escape on snowmobiles. McClane chases after them. He kills Burke and Garber and takes a machine gun in possession, but his new gun proves strangely ineffective. McClane checks the weapon and finds that the bullets are blank. McClane returns to the airport security office and announces to Lorenzo that Grant and Stewart are actually working together. For emphasis, McClane fires his submachine gun, still loaded with blanks, at Lorenzo. Finally convinced, Lorenzo mobilizes his police to converge on the hangar containing the evergreen Boeing 747 that Stewart has demanded as an escape vehicle. Meanwhile, circling above the airport, Holly unexpectedly found herself in the same plane as Richard Thornburg, the news reporter who had endangered her and John during their previous meeting. As the terrorists' plans unfold, both Holly and Thornburg begin to realize that something is amiss. This see. Minutes and Thornburg listening to the tower radio transmissions, learning about the crisis, and making a live news report from aboard the plane. The crowds in the airport are thrown into a panic, which greatly hampers McClane's and Lorenzo's efforts to apprehend Stewart. Holly zaps Thornburg unconscious with a fellow passenger's stun gun. With no way to communicate with the tower, the plane begins to attempt a landing and everyone assumes crash positions. At the army truck, Grant kills the soldier not loyal to Stewart's cause. He and his men meet up with Esperanza, Stewart, and his two remaining men, Miller and Kahn, at the remote hangar and got on board the 747. McClane hitches a ride in Coleman's news helicopter to the villain's plane, which is taxiing for takeoff. He manages to jump onto the wing and finds himself in hand-to-hand combat with Major Grant. Grant is sucked through one of the plane's engines and killed, but Stewart takes up the fight and kicks McClane off the wing. As he falls, McClane opens the fuel hatch on the engine. McClane uses his cigarette lighter to ignite the spilling fuel, which burns right up to the plane even as it takes off, causing it to explode, killing everyone inside and avenging over 200 innocents. It also provides a landing light for the other planes, which all touch down safely. Emergency services arrive and begin evacuating the air passengers, including Holly and a badly shaken Thornburg. McClane and Holly joyfully reunite. Lorenzo tears up McClane's parking ticket as a Christmas gift, and Marvin takes the couple home.